Well, Todd Chrisley is out of prison and he's buff as hell. That's right. Not only was Todd Chrisley surrounded by iron bars in prison, but he seemed to have been pumping iron as well. But getting ripped must have given Todd an appetite, because the first thing that Julie Chrisley did, now that she's on the loose, was go to a grocery store and get a huge honey-baked ham for them to cook together for their big first dinner back at home. And that's all for the Chrisley Minute. And now here's Amy.
Oh my God.
It's big news. I don't know if you've been following it, but they have this 24-hour network.
Chrisley Cam?
It's called Chrisley Cam. It's started by his daughter. It's called the Chrisley Cam, created by Savannah Chrisley. And basically, beat by beat, they know what these Chrisleys are doing now that they're on the loose.
Yeah.
It's shocking. Todd Chrisley is super buff. His daughter was stunned. His daughter got car sick driving home from the prison to Nashville, and so she was barfing in the car the entire way home. And he said, this smell of barf is worse than anything I had to deal with in prison.
Was he like going live on Instagram? What are you talking about?
It's Chrisley Cam. It's Chrisley Cam. It's this new awesome. Well, sorry, not awesome, but what do you say
you
when
can
something's...
say it. I know who you really are.
No, not awesome. Just very compelling. Sort of a critical look at their lives. But it's called Chrisley Cam, and it's just everything they're
That's
doing.
the drinking game word every time you say Chrisley Cam for the rest of the episode.
It's called, it's basically they have a beat by beat breakdown of everything they're doing. And I have to give TMZ a huge pat on the back. I don't know what what's his name, Harvey Levin is doing over there, but Harvey has this thing broken down basically every single hour. That's how I knew that Julie Chrisley went to the grocery store, got the honey baked ham, cooked a huge dinner for the entire Chrisley clan. And now we don't know what they're doing yet because I'm recording, but I probably will have updates right after, too.
Did the chief say why he freed them?
I think that...
I almost called him the chairman of the board.
There hasn't been any rationale or excuse yet. I still, even since last week when 2 days ago when we talked about this, I haven't figured out anything about the Chrisleys, what they did, why they would not be punished for their actions. But so far, there has not been one. I have to give them credit here, Chrisley credit. There's not one crime that they've committed in the 24 hours or 48 hours since they've been released.
Yeah, I did see that it was the same POTUS's Department of Justice who put them in jail originally. So interesting that change of heart there. But I also saw a huge headline. It did turn out to be The Onion, but it said Trump pardons Sandoval.
I saw that too. I said, I felt like someone who's not internet savvy. I go, this better be The Onion. And because I had a cup of coffee over the top half of it. I go, this better be The Onion. And then it turns out once I lifted my coffee cup, that was the newspaper that reported this. Did you see Shep's response to it?
He was like, when you're on The Onion, you know you've made it. And it was in like Comic Sans. He
goes, The Onion is, exactly what you just said. He said, once you're on The Onion, you know you've made it. Congrats to my friend Tom Sandoval. And it's kind of the reason why that satirical the satire burns so much is that you could almost imagine a world in which these reality television people are getting pardoned given the Chrisley news, right? Is that kind of why that has some bite to it, that Onion?
I think so. It's very relevant. I just watched that Pee-wee doc on Max about like Paul Reubens. It's good. It's kind of sad. He got like fucked over multiple times with like erroneous charges. They show like sort of the downfall of Pee-wee when he had horrible PR after the like sex theater thing. And then there was another thing later. And I was like, do you think that Sandoval will watch this and be like, I know exactly what this is like?
Oh, for sure. When do you think he's getting the friends together to put on the Pee-wee doc? But yeah, he definitely knows that. Paul Reubens went to my high school.
Really?
Sarasota High.
Florida, yeah. I didn't know that the sex theater was in Florida. I always thought it was like on Santa Monica Boulevard.
Yeah, I think he had just gone to his high school reunion and then he wanted to go masturbate in a theater. But
they called it the jargon they were using every time the like lawyers or the cops talked about it said that he was manipulating his genitals.
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's worse than any other way to put it.
Yeah, right. It's like you try to use innuendo, and it's actually much worse and more visually shocking to imagine. It is so. I don't even want to get into this, but you saying that just opened my mind to the idea that is something that people had to go do, and it's like the most shocking thing in the world. I haven't thought about that at all. Not that Pee-wee's legacy should be reduced to that at all, but that was that was kind of his, like, Marilyn Manson took their rib out to do whatever Marilyn Manson was doing. It kind of just like, it's just the one rumor, or not even rumor, true fact that we all learned. It's such a bummer.
Yeah, he was like, he said that everyone was trying to comfort him at the time, being like, the public has a short memory, like no one remembers anything. He was like, yeah, fucking right, they remember everything. And I was like, yeah.
It's the third line on his Wikipedia, which is like the ultimate horror. But yeah, and it's like, it's, when you think about it in that context, multiple people, probably 6 or 7 people were in that theater every single day, in theaters all across the country, manipulating their genitals. And he's just the one person that it was so jarring to imagine it, for us.
Yeah, and then he got double fucked. It really happened, so it's not a spoiler, but then he just had gotten over that and like started to do movies and like TV again. And then he got mixed up with, he was friends with, what's his name from Beetlejuice and like Ferris Bueller, Jeffrey Jones. Is that his name?
Yeah, Jeffrey Jones,
who like
from
actually did get canceled for being a pedophile and had like salacious illegal materials. Whoever narked him out said that Pee-wee was doing the same shit because one time Jeffrey Jones was at his house at like a barbecue or something. And then they went through all of his stuff because Paul Reubens is a collector of like cool and weird shit. He has a ton of like 1950s like gay porn stuff that's just like beefcake magazines and like kind of like interesting ephemera. And they couldn't find anything bad in it, but they just like came after him in this like homophobic search of his property, and they wouldn't drop it. They charged him with a count of like obscene materials, which I was like, how can you get in trouble for having something considered obscene if it's not illegal?
Right.
And
wait.
he had to be on a sex offenders list.
Oh my God, I didn't know anything. I only heard the one thing.
I know. I didn't know about the 1-2 punch.
Well, not good or bad, but that one didn't make the cultural ring that the first one did. At least that's good. Yeah. Jeffrey Jones, you said that Jeffrey Jones, he went down kicking and screaming, and he implicated Pee-wee in this thing as well. Or
I think whoever implicated Jeffrey Jones also threw Pee-wee under the bus. He was like, I think it's the lot of them.
Oh my God, because Jeffrey Jones went to a barbecue at Pee-wee's house, you said?
Yeah.
Well, I'm possibly going to watch that documentary, maybe. But I'm glad
it made me want to watch all the Pee-wee movies, including the new one, or like it's almost 10 years ago now, but the Netflix one that Paul Rust wrote. I really liked it.
Oh, I gotta watch that. I never had a Pee-wee era. I haven't even seen Big Adventure.
You gotta.
I will someday. That's definitely big on the the things I have to do with my life. But I'm gonna have a Pee-wee Herman big marathon.
Pee-wee Herman summer.
It might be my
the new brat summer.
It might be my Pee-wee Herman summer this summer. So stay tuned to that. Do you want to switch over to Bravo News? How does?
Yeah, we had a little bit of a tangent. I just watched that, so
that's good. No, that's awesome. I forget how we were even segueing. Oh, we were talking about Chrisley's. Oh, then we talked about Tom Sandoval. That made sense. The Onion article. Then we got a little Pee-wee, which is good. I'm glad we dove into that. But then Tom Sandoval. Not only was he starring on the front page of the Onion. He also, they just announced he's kind of doing the reality television circuit, I would say, this sort of rung of television shows that sort of call Bravo talent, kind of like the pasture for Bravo talent. I'd say these kind of catch-all on different networks. Dancing with the Stars is obviously one.
Yeah. Traders is like the most glamorous option because people actually really like it. And then when you go down the Plinko board, it's like House of Villains. I don't know what's even lower than that.
I don't know, but yeah, that's it. You just named it. And I was like, do I have to bite my tongue about House of Villains? But then I was like, no, it's E Network. I don't have to pretend that anything like that is good. And I think it's absolutely pure shit from what I've seen. So I don't know, but I guess Tom Sandoval wanted the same windfall from Traders to possibly. Well, he's also like he wants to remain on television and do what he can. But I don't know if House of Villains. Who knows? I mean, I'm always wrong, but I don't know if it's going to have the same like cachet that Traders did for him. That kind of was a huge resurgence for some. And then I don't imagine that House of Villains is going to have that same. It kind of, I don't know, for some reason, just House of Villains seems like way, way shittier in that sort of
like
trove.
Trax was already on it.
Yeah. Kate Chastain, fresh off Traders as well, is going to be on it. And then I didn't see many of the other people. I don't know. Christine Quinn.
Oh, right. What's that show called? Selling Sunset?
Yeah, Selling Sunset. I'm surprised one of those Oppenheimer boys aren't on one of those yet.
Yeah, damn.
But yeah, so it's Christine Quinn, Tom Sandoval, Kate Chastain. I don't even really know, but it doesn't give me any joy to report on that.
No. We'll see if we have any. I mean, I doubt we'll watch that. I'm just to be honest.
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, if they gave us, here's what I'll say. What is this called? Payola? If they gave us a dump truck filled with House of Villains merch,
caviar,
House of Villains caviar, House of Villains champagne, a bunch of merch, even if it looked like shit, it just said HOV with the devil horns or whatever their logo is. Yeah, I'll wear that. Yeah, I'll talk about it every single episode of Turtle Time. And then maybe what? Like how much money would they have to give us? $1,000 a piece?
Sure, that sounds good.
What would we talk about? Would that be worth 6 episodes of commentary?
Oof. No.
How about 3?
3 episodes.
How about the premiere? How about the premiere? A 2-part premiere, 1,000 each. We talk about it.
Okay.
But in our clause, they can't. We have to be the Turtle
clause.
Time way. Yeah, we have to. Our Turtle Time clause is that we have to remain objective no matter how much you pay us. You still have to pay us.
Yeah.
But we're objective to a fault.
Yeah. I saw this right before we recorded last time. I don't think we talked about it because it's not interesting, but the Apple show, the studio.
When did that ever stop us?
The studio on Apple sent Lindsay Hubbard a package, which I'm like, I guess she's just an influencer straight up. So sure.
Why this late though?
I know it's run its course. It's over. Maybe she just got to it because she moved.
Oh, so she's just sitting on a big load of PR packages.
Yeah.
We normally get ours at the beginning of a season.
Oh, yes. But she loved the pajamas they sent so much that she wore them. And she goes, you know that the PR is good when you're throwing it on. So I want that studio package. I haven't finished it, but I liked that show.
Oh, good. Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds like maybe they're possibly sending them out late, so maybe we could get a couple of those.
Anyone listening, I watched The Studio. I watched The Rehearsal. Yeah. I'm watching Real Housewives of Miami diligently.
Yeah. Oh, my God, the PR
Pee-wee doc. Send me a red bow tie.
Oh, I would almost, I'm going to lower my standards a little bit. Pee-wee tie. That robe from the studio that you just mentioned, a mug
Pee-wee
or something.
bike.
Pee-wee bike. I think that would at least guarantee 30 minutes of commentary for me on all those different shows. So you load us up, send the PR packages our way. Turtle Time's got some holes to fill in the programming.
Send Riley the Ruby Frankie package.
Send me the Ruby Frankie Hulu package. Hulu has amazing I wonder what would be in the Ruby Frankie package. It would be so... they probably don't do PR stuff for that.
It's like holy water...
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know.
A banana.
Yeah, what was a banana for again?
That was sad. Her son was hungry.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, okay, and then lastly, I have to say this. This is horrible news too. Leah Leah McSweeney is back in the news.
What is she up to now?
Yeah, for the amount of impact Leah McSweeney has had for her 3 seasons of prominence in the Bravo universe. Now she says it's like when you present new evidence, like Your Honor, wait, I'd like to extend the court's time, and they go overruled. And he says, no, I'll allow it. I think
add this to the docket.
Yeah, add this to the docket, Your Honor. And the Honor, I guess, listened to this, and
the Honor.
They said that Andy, Leah McSweeney claims that Andy, in a sort of strategic command, he sent all of his kind of minions after Leah McSweeney's lawsuit came out. He strategically commanded all of his minions to go out there and rally and support him and denigrate her. And then she pointed to specific examples. Lisa Vanderpump on The Talk. You could imagine what Lisa probably said about the Leah McSweeney lawsuit at the time. You could just imagine the words coming out of her mouth at how pro Andy she was. Heather Dubrow and Margaret Josephs were the ones that were specifically mentioned. But there's no evidence or proof.
Yeah, impossible to prove that they're not just kissing the ring out of their own self-preservation.
Yeah, I would say the most, the worst brush you could paint that with is just that they're kissing ass. And just... no, they love Bravo and they love Andy, but also out of their own heart and maybe self-interest, they wanted to be the first people on the front lines being like, this sucks and Leah McSweeney was awful and, no one should do this to Bravo. So there's no proof of it. I think it's just another allegation to make in a way.
I'm trying to remember, is she suing for a specific amount?
I don't know.
Or that's later?
You know what? I don't know. No one will even say what this is. No one is dissecting it or recapping it. I don't know what the goal is. To get him fired?
Yeah, all the specifics I've heard of her arguments are pretty weak. I don't see them getting very far.
Yeah, this probably isn't good to say, but she does have allegations that Andy has in his past dabbled in, I can't even say the word, YouTube will fine us, but he's done
bathroom.
Yeah, he's done an unfortunate, he might have put something, one of those things that they call them, starts with a D, RUGS, might have blown some of that stuff, it's white, up his nose, and Leah did say there's 3 instances of people saying this. Nene Leaks called Andy a C head, and then Kathy Griffin. This is the one I'll remember till my dying day. Kathy Griffin said, I shouldn't say this. Should I say that? Okay. Kathy Griffin said that she was in the green room and Andy came in and he said, "I'm going to do a huge rip." and Kathy was kind of aghast, shocked, because she doesn't do what that was, and these are alleged incidents.
Kathy doesn't lie though.
Kathy Griffin?
No.
Really?
I believe Kathy. I stand with Kathy.
Is that one of her things, that she's a truth teller?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. At great risk to her personal safety.
Oh my God! What other truths has she told?
She always spills the beans on everything. She completely. I watched her show the whole time it was on. She destroyed her relationship with Brooke Shields because she told intimate details in her stand-up. She always narcs out every celebrity party she's ever been to and will tell you everything that happened. This isn't really a true thing, but when she did that Donald Trump photo shoot, she got put on a no-fly list for 5 years. Whoa. And her life was literally ruined. She's fearless.
Oh, wow. I don't really know Kathy Griffin too well, but it just something about that allegation, it just sounds like when someone, I don't know if you know any people who do cocaine, but it's something where if you're on that wavelength, it's quite possible that they are more casual about it. So if a hypothetical friend is just like, hey, I'm going to rip a big line of cocaine. Do you want a couple pieces of this up your nose? You might think that that's a very, simple thing, but for Kathy Griffin, in this instance, it's quite possibly a big shock. Like, I've never, it's like not everywhere is like boogie nights or something to them. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think what? I don't want to misrepresent her, but I don't think she like drinks. Anyways.
She's kind of like Janet. You said that she says she goes to every party and tells everything about it. That's kind of like what Janet did on the Valley, right?
They're not the same.
All right. Well, any other news to get us out of this news segment? I think we did a really good job. 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
Let's get into this freaking summer house reunion. I enjoyed it.
Me too. What did you? Yeah, I thought it was really good.
It was like fun and like pretty light for the most part. Well, it had some deep moments, but.
Yeah, no, it was, it's kind of a celebration of Summer House. I feel like Summer House everyone is tooting their horn, so to speak, kind of a victory lap. The set design is obviously the ultimate sign that Summer House is one of the most powerful things in the Bravo universe. I mean, that's one of the best sets I've ever seen. It looked like...
What was the one that was like the worst set of all time?
Oh, I can tell you. I remember it was Salt Lake City season 4, and Andy politely on his SiriusXM show when they were teasing him about it. He goes, our set designers have done amazing work in the past. That was not one of their best.
Was it like a shipwreck or something?
It was a pirate ship, but it was so odd. It was like it had a bunch of like skeleton pirate. It looked like the shittiest version of Pirates of the Caribbean. Like they even had, and it looked like that Goonies set too. It had that guy One-Eyed Willie or whatever on it, and it was just so weird, and the colors and stuff. That I think that one, unfortunately, maybe they had like 24 hours to do it or something, and they just fully blew it. But this one, the opposite, beautiful, fun, big huge bed. What else was in there? Like pillows.
Sloth stuffy. Andy came out in a robe and he was like, "Watch out, Jenna Lyons. You're not the only one." And he seemed a little like, he was like amazed and confused about the whole thing. He was like, "This is crazy."
Yeah. He was like, he said, "I don't know what to think about this." What about that shout out to Jenna Lyons? Does anybody remember that she wore a bathrobe that one time?
Andy really thought that was like so gag worthy.
I know.
And
I love
as I said, Rita Ora already wore that to like the European MTV Movie Awards the year before.
Andy has like the highlight reel of Roni from the past 2 seasons in his head, and like no one else does. I thought that was kind of a telling comment.
In one of the last interviews I saw with him, I think it was at that Orlando thing we talked about, they asked what housewife he would trust to watch his kids. And he started out by saying all of them because he thinks all the housewives are great moms. But then he landed on Erin Leachy. He was like, she's got like 4 kids. They're Jewish. My son will fit right in. Like, and I was like, he's always got the Roni women on his mind.
Yeah. Wow. Erin Leachy of all of them. Wow. I mean, I can imagine it, not saying anything bad, but kind of a random choice.
I don't know, after the way she held her baby, making that martini, dangling him around.
I was just gonna say, did he say that after he saw that horrific video of Jenna holding her son like a sack of potatoes with his neck? No, I'm just kidding. She was holding that baby very safely. Okay, Summer House, this thing, like you said, Andy comes out and he does a kind of a playful yawn, and then Paige and Sierra come out and they go, "Oh my God, look at the impact of the bed bugs." Kind of a full celebration of them. Sierra goes, "I'm gonna cry. This is so beautiful." It's like fully dedicated to them.
Yes.
In a big way.
Yes. Amanda's in first position. Lindsay is sitting next to Kyle, and she's like, "I don't think we've ever sat next to each other because we've historically been beefing like every single time.
Yeah.
So this is a first." Did you love when Andy was like, "Sierra, is you sitting next to Carl a soft launch of your relationship?" And she's like, "Haha, like no." And Lindsay goes, "Carl loves the word soft."
Yeah.
I was like, can you like relax?
Yeah, I wanted to say wait for a second before we start that
soft?
kind of yeah.
You say soft? You love soft. Remember when you said I should be soft?
Yes, and everyone's kind of like still like awkwardly reacts to that. Andy does mention first position when he talks about Amanda. He goes from from Kyle's girlfriend, he says, in quotes, to first position. I'm like, well, you're acknowledging that first position means something. I think I've heard multiple times that these chair placements mean absolutely nothing. Remember when he said somebody has to sit on the end and it absolutely means nothing, but first position obviously
means something just because you're like, just blocking wise, you're in the action and closest to the host, so you have the most opportunity,
but I just feel like it's now it acknowledges and opens the floodgates for us to always think about seating charts just as much as we already do, when you might not have thought about it now. Like, I mean, they're acknowledging Amanda first position. It's like a huge, like, everyone's congratulating Amanda at the time, so they mean something.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so West is like, I brought my notes, I'm ready this year. And the first thing, like straight out the gates, the Craig breakup. Andy is like, it's kind of fun because Andy knows more than he usually would, because he's already had the Southern Charm finale reunion and Watch What Happens Live. So he has like a take more than he normally would. And he's like, watching on his show, and when I talked to him, Craig said that he was surprised, but watching it on Summer House, you were obviously headed in that direction all summer. So how much of what we saw did he know? And I have to say, she just like cooks him to a fry in this reunion. Like, he should be like scampering away.
No, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Everything she says, I don't have one comment pushback on absolutely anything she says. It's like,
and she's not even like, shockingly, it's not even giving like bitter or like petty. She's like stating the facts, and she's unbothered in a way that makes it fun to watch, because she's like, I didn't even want to go through all of this shit. I was trying to make it clean, and then the way he handled it, now if you want me to explain all the ways that I'm exonerated, I will, and make him look like a fucking loser liar.
Yeah. Yes, totally. She says specifically that her aim was not to make it Team Paige and Team Craig. And when I listened to Giggly Squad, it was very amicable and very much great language the entire time. And I would have never thought that we should be gearing up to hate a certain side. It was only until the cheating rumor started bubbling up, and then Craig missed his opportunity to nip those in the bud, that it became the Team Paige and Team Craig thing. So I thought that was fully honest of Paige, and those were her intentions that she set out when she broke up with him.
Right. Yeah. She's like, we've been having some version of that conversation for a year. And in fact, last February, we broke up for like a whole weekend, which is kind of funny. It's like for 2 days, but, and we got back together. So obviously it wasn't perfect for a while, because that was, many, many months before. And then she says again, I feel like I know this timeline so well because we've heard it so many times, but she's like, he went to Aspen after Christmas, and she said he was acting single, like going out and posting at bars and stuff. And she was like, people are going to start asking questions if he keeps posting like this. So I'm going to make my announcement on the podcast so that it's clear that he's not like out doing weird shit while we're still together, basically.
Yeah, that was shocking to me that like, there was more rationale for why Paige had to make that statement, because I only thought it was that he went on an Aspen trip, and he was like, she wasn't in his Instagram photos or something, so people would start to talk. But it's so funny that like when Craig is out in the world, like there's all of this, like these photos and news items and Dumois posts that come out that just flood in if you see Craig getting drunk or something at a bar. And so she's acknowledging that she can't let that go on, because then she has to field a bunch of anonymous tips and people trying to tell her that Craig is cheating on her in the moment. Like I kind of simplified it in my head that it was cleaner than it was, but that really is a huge reason why you have to just tell everyone that this is no longer a relationship.
Right. Andy is like, you've expressed doubts that he bought a ring. And she's like, yeah, absolutely not. Do not believe that for a second. She confirms that he never asked her dad, which everyone, including her, felt certain that if he bought a ring and was gearing up to ask the question, that he would have asked for her hand first.
Yeah, I guess that's not the best evidence for me because
he could have held on to it.
Yeah, you could have been like, "This is the most beautiful ring that I think." Paige
but he said he got it custom made, so like, why get it made so far in advance?
Do we not think that Paige at one point did say like, "I want this type of diamond cut and stuff"? Like, I thought we acknowledged that could have been a conversation they had in the past. Like,
Craig said that.
Oh, he did? Okay, all right. Well, I don't know about the dad thing, but I believe all the other evidence about it, that like no one ever saw it, that when they talk about when he returned it, that was pretty shocking.
Yeah.
Also, Andy, I have to think about Andy for a second. He's pretty stunned as he's going through this. He's like shocked, which I think you said, because he's in on this thing. He's like on the ground floor and he knows all of the pieces and he's like parsed through the timeline, and he's just like, I can't believe we're talking about a world where Craig might lie about a ring. And I kind of feel like that was me if I was just thinking about the Craig that I knew, that I support and honor, not thinking that he is the kind of liar that would do that. But now, as you and I have been recapping Southern Charm and we really talk about it, and now I acknowledge that Craig lies his ass off, whether or not he thinks he's lying. And so I feel like I was the Andy perspective when he's just like, really? He really lied to all of us, and he lied to me on Watch What Happens Live? Like, it's just shocking to accept that about Craig for some people, I think. And for Andy, it is during this segment.
Andy already had to go through it because he actually certainly did lie to him on Watch What Happens that one time where he was pretending that they were still together. So every single thing he said on that first episode was absolute bullshit. So we know he's capable.
Yeah, you're right. And then they talk about Watch What Happens Live, and then they show the clip, and it's like, I can't believe that there's another clip of Craig potentially lying on Watch What Happens Live. It's when him and Austin and Shep were all together, and Andy goes, what the hell's going on with that ring? And Craig goes, just returned it this morning. The jeweler was happy with me when I returned that thing. And then Paige goes, what the hell? She goes, how convenient. The morning of his Watch What Happens Live appearance, that's when he decided to return the ring, and his new girlfriend was with him in New York. Did she go to the jeweler with him? She goes, Andy, this is absolutely insane.
Yeah, which I'm pretty sure if we roll back the tape when he said that, I was very curious about the return policy of this custom jewelry, because I was like, why would they ever take a return?
I know,
unless he sold it for parts, why would the jeweler themselves take it a year later?
I was so naive. I didn't know how jewelry trades work. I thought that you could just trade it in for a bunch of different jewelry that you wanted. Like, this ring is worth 20 grand, so I'll take one big necklace, one big watch, and then whatever else. But then they go, they say, Carl, someone who's probably dealt with a wedding ring that needs to be returned, how hard is that thing to return? And Carl goes, he says that it couldn't be returned, and Kyle says, or you get like 50% because it's like a custom ring that no one else would want. It has special meaning and everything. So the Summer House cast are almost, I think, they are fully aligned that Craig lied about this thing.
Yeah. Andy's like, what did happen to your ring for Lindsay Carl? And Paige goes, Craig bought it.
Oh my God. And everyone laughs. They're dying. They love it. I saw that Rodrigo on Southern Charm, Rodrigo's boyfriend, maybe fiance now, said was Team Paige. They said, I still want to see this ring. And so I feel like Vanita, even some Southern Charm people are on the Paige side. So Paige has everyone on Summer House, and then she also has a few people that aren't on pro Craig side on Southern Charm. So it's a huge winning side over on Paige side.
It is strange that I saw some comments and stuff saying, don't you think that Craig would be he would love the storyline of ring shopping, and that like there should have been like a whole episode about it, like him picking it out, doing the design, going to the store.
Yeah, totally. It's like oh God, no. Well, I was just gonna say absolutely that. It's like what's It's like that. You remember that $1 million necklace that Todd supposedly bought? It's like at a certain point, you just have to show the receipts for this thing that is being so talked about. And I imagine that, Craig would have made it much more a part of his life if this ring actually existed. And also they show that he kind of looks like a little bit of a Pinocchio-esque liar in Watch What Happens Live. He's looking down and he mumbles as he says that I just returned the ring this morning. And if you're imagining Craig as a liar in that moment, he looks deceitful as he says it.
Yeah. Paige says she knows his tells when he's lying. So that was fun. And then
what do you do if you're a really big bad liar and everybody knows it and everybody thinks it of you? Lying seems like a really hard thing to cure. I don't know what
Jax.
I don't know what you do. What's the remedy? I mean, it's just it's almost
personality disorder.
Yeah, it's almost like breathing. It's like you have a hard time acknowledging the truth and telling the truth, and you like to fabricate.
He's a storyteller.
Total storyteller vibes. I guess that's what I would say.
Yes. Okay, now we bop over to West and Sierra, which gets a good amount of time. He has to grovel. I felt, call me a West defender, I felt he was made to grovel a little much at this point. I'm like, we already did an entire reunion about this. He hasn't done anything since then that's bad in this regard. So do we really have to relitigate this entire thing? He says he didn't realize what damage the article did. It really sounds like the article is like the thing that was like made her like done.
Yeah, Sierra does not like to be pulled into press. I found out this at this reunion. If it's not her as the story, then she doesn't like people to use her name for clout or for power. Right. Both West is guilty of that in that New York Times article. I guess I don't remember it, to be honest. I don't remember one huge revelation that was so shocking, but I just think that Sierra doesn't want her name to be used in association with someone else if she's not authorizing it, which I totally understand. I'm sure that's a lot of people's stance, as a celebrity. Lexi obviously gets the brunt of that later in this episode. I agree with you for the most part. I was just I think that they wanted to give West the opportunity to talk because they made a joke about West. West makes a great joke at the start. He says, I have a note that just says talk on it. And everybody, oh my God, 10 out of 10 joke. Everybody laughs. I think it was an opportunity to allow West to finally say his feelings fully. Right. And then he kind of goes overboard a little bit to overcompensate for not talking. And so it kind of just got more time than it needed to because West's apology was so involved. And then Sierra got more of a moment than you would think because she has a lot of like personal stuff going on.
Where was that tea? Not to call her like family shit tea, but like that had all already happened before the last reunion. If I remember correctly, the last reunion was March because, again, I know that timeline very well because Lindsay was pregnant at the reunion. So I know that she, I know when that was. So the Christmas before is when all the stuff they talk about. And I'm like, this all would have been very interesting last year, but it's maybe too fresh.
Yeah. Or if I remember correctly, maybe there's just so much Carl and Lindsay that it possibly got overshadowed. And then this is now, part 2 of the West and Sierra discussion. So Sierra can talk about it more. But yeah, I mean, I guess I would have liked to know this because it would have made the stuff going on between West and Sierra, I don't know, more rationale for what was going on, especially on Sierra's end for why this was such a hard time for her.
Yeah. And I wish that there was a more cathartic moment. So basically she gets into the fact that, right when all the shit was going down between them, her mom got remarried and she took it really hard. She doesn't talk to her dad. Her mom's been remarried a few times. And so it was just like an upsetting moment for her. And apparently it's something she had talked to West about. And he was one of the closer people in her life that she could like vent to about it. And she was like, I felt like he wasn't there for me. And he's like, this is obviously something he probably was too afraid to say last year, but he brings up that right around the holidays, she turned her phone off for 2 weeks. And she's like, yeah, I went on a retreat to Costa Rica because I wanted to forget that it was the holidays, forget about my birthday, which apparently she has my birthday.
I know, I
December
saw that.
24th, which I was like, West is a Capricorn too. It makes absolute sense that they went on, like they could never connect.
Is that a thing about Capricorns?
I feel like we're like avoidant. I don't know if that's always the case, but it's like this. You need like someone to come forward. I just did 2 rocks together.
Yeah.
If you're listening, not watching. But so I was like, oh, that makes sense, because I've always gotten the vibe that I don't think he did anything that wrong, and I felt like they were both playing too cool, and so they could never quite get together, which is kind of exactly what they say here, is that she's like, I didn't want him to feel obligated to ask me home for the holidays or something like that. And then because she retreated, he felt left out. And then because he felt left out, he went away. And then she felt that he left her in the dust. So I'm like, it literally is like a miscommunication where I'm like, if you guys were both just vulnerable and said like, it hurt my feelings when you did that, or like, I'm really scared to open up to someone because of X, Y, and Z, like they could have just like had a conversation about it, but instead they both got like pissed and like it dissolved.
Yeah. Oh my God. Wow. 2 Capricorns.
Yes, I'm not into any of that stuff, so I don't know anything, but just because I am a Capricorn, I feel like I kind of get it.
Yeah. Wow. I do want to say one thing too that I thought was very interesting when they talked about Wes not being able to speak. That they were said that at that table, that dinner where Kyle said Wes's hair looked like shit and Sierra called Wes a loser, they kept expecting Wes to talk or whatever, and Wes got called a loser. They said that his hair sucked, and then they said that he left the table for 20 full minutes, which I was like, how is that possible? Is that real? Are you guys exaggerating? And then they show the footage, and this footage is amazing. He actually goes, he breathed a big sigh, and he got up, and then they just cut to the Summer House cast just having very casual conversations that they know are not going to end up in the final edit. It was like, how are you doing? Oh, are you going to finish your meal? Oh, what a fun summer we're going to have. But they're all like actually waiting for...
It's the conversation that ends up with Lindsay saying that she needs to take a huge shit.
Yes, that conversation. And then Wes does come back, and the timer is 20 minutes, and they expected that he went upstairs, started thinking about stuff. He had his points together. He was ready to talk, and they said that he just sat there, and then they show the aftermath, and everyone was just kind of like waiting for Wes to say something, and he never did. It was just interesting.
Like exhales. He's like,
yeah, it was interesting to see how long that dinner was and all the like the cut footage that we'll never see, and what they do when like a scene isn't happening at the table. Right. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, and for some reason, she gets pissed off again around that conversation, and she's like, "If you can talk to the fucking press, you can talk face to face." And he's like, "Okay, yeah."
Yeah, you're right. But I think we can say about this, I don't know if this is the end of what we'll say about Wes and Sierra, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, definitely, for this relationship, I think. Obviously not.
I hope so. I wanted her to be, I think she was so, she gave as much as she possibly could when talking about her family, that to avoid crying, she had to completely shut down and like lock it down. Cause like by the end, you could tell she just like couldn't say any more. So when they were like, is there hope in the future? Or like he apologizes for everything again and says that he misses their friendship. And she's like, I appreciate that. Time will tell. And that's all she says. Cause you can tell she just like can't say any more.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But I really think if I was predicting things, Sierra gave West some hellos, some goodbyes. West got her a drink at one point. I think she drank the remnants of West's drink, or West got the remnants of a drink or something. I think that by next year, which is now this summer, I imagine that we'll get even more instances of fun and camaraderie. And I just don't think it'll last that long, because you can tell that Sierra really liked West as a person, and I feel like the animosity towards him will just dissipate after so much time, and I imagine them having just like more fun moments next summer. Maybe you won't declare them friends, but it just seems like a natural evolution at this point for them.
Yeah, I hope so. Did you also see, I don't think we talked about it last week, but West took Kyle home for, I think they were doing some event together, but then they detoured and he took him home to the ranch and they were horseback riding with his dad and stuff. And I was like, so this is evidence that he just loves to bring people home to meet his family, like regardless of romance.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. There were so many beautiful photos of Kyle doing all of that shit with West. Yeah. That was really fun.
Yeah. Also, of course, Kyle cried when Sierra cried because he does that every single time and gave her a hug.
Yeah. They all say Kyle doesn't cry when we cry. Like Amanda says, he never cries when I cry. And Paige says that as well. But Kyle was crying and he gives Sierra a hug.
Did you love what happened on the break?
I did. So what happens is Andy says Lisa Vanderpump keeps calling me. And I was like, I imagined that she would. But she said she's called 4 times. And then he finds out that they're all butt dials, right? She keeps calling.
The voicemails are like garbled nothing.
She keeps leaving. I thought for a second, I was like, I could imagine Lisa just calling Andy 4 times.
Yeah, I'm like, is this the day that like James got arrested or something? Like, what was going on?
Yeah, or I was thinking like the new Vanderpump Rules is filming, and she's like, what the fuck is going on here? I need to call Andy immediately. But he says butt.
Yeah. Butt dial. But I love that. That's one of the highlights of reading his books is that he's like, Jill Zarin won't stop blowing me up this week, and like little stuff like that. Or when he called Lindsay Hubbard to be like, why did you throw a shoe at a production assistant or whatever?
Yeah, he's kind of like Kathy Griffin in those diaries.
He should get it.
Yeah, man, but he just won't acknowledge the stuff about himself in his diaries.
Yeah, Kathy Griffin is persona non grata. I should rewatch that show. I think it's on Peacock finally.
Life on the D list?
Yeah, it's an OG. I haven't watched it in a long time, but that was like one of my Bravo gateways. It was one of the oldest ones.
But Kathy Griffin, she'd like make a friend, like she'd be hanging out with who's the blonde-haired restaurateur who yells at everybody?
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, she'd like meet Gordon Ramsay and he'd be like, "Kathy, come to my house." And then she would go to his house. She'd see he's doing big lines of coke, allegedly. And then she'd be like, I went to Gordon Ramsay's house. He was doing a bunch of drugs. And he'd be like, well, obviously I'm not your friend anymore.
Just like that.
But like, right? If you and I had a friend who said, I love turtle time. I want to come over to your guys' house. And I said, do you want to do a big shot of vodka? I need vodka to go to sleep every night. And then that person goes.
It would more be like she was at a big Hollywood party and she would say like, and I saw freaking Paris Hilton in the corner doing X, Y, and Z, like stuff like that. Not like every time betraying an intimate trust.
She did betray an intimate trust with Andy Cohen.
Right.
That was an intimate trust.
Was that before or after he like blasted her from the network?
When is it okay to blast your friends like that with a too real truth?
Yeah, I think I don't remember the timeline of I know that like her and Anderson, because Andy replaced Kathy on New Year's. Like part of it.
Right. Of course. I don't remember what happened. Did Kathy completely kind of choke at the New Year's?
She did something to piss off Anderson.
Really?
Yeah.
She pissed off Anderson?
Yeah. That's who she hosted with.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know she did something actually wrong that Anderson didn't like.
Yeah, that's right?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about Kathy. I was just saying that, like, I can imagine if you just go around burning bridges, and then at the end of the day, you're like, wow, no one likes me, and I'm on the no-flight list. It's like, well, not the no-flight list, but it's like, well, you did talk about a lot of private stuff that people were doing.
I want to get invited. She has these salons where she invites people from all walks of life to have interesting dinner conversation, and I want to go.
Wow. Me too. I really do. I wonder what the conversation is like. I kind of, I don't know. I was like, what if it like is a total dud over there? Like,
I want to hang out with her and Rosie. That's all I want.
Me too. I don't know why I brought up, I'm sorry to bring up Kathy again, but I just, I had some questions. Okay, Imrul Imrul comes out now. First of all, West, right when he's coming back after taking a certified turtle piss break, he starts walking all over the middle of the bed. Everybody goes, "What the hell are you doing?" He's like, he's kind of like stomping all over it. And they're
with
like,
his shoes on. Even though I noticed that like all the girls came out without their heels on, because I was like, are they all just? At first, I saw one by one. I was like, Paige isn't wearing her shoes. Sierra's not wearing her shoes, and I was like, none of them are wearing their shoes. And I was like, they can't all be opting to just put their heels on as late as humanly possible. And then I was like, oh, they like can't walk on that thing.
Oh, so it really was an issue of that big bed not allowing enough walking room.
I think so.
Oh, okay. So strategically, there's a little bit of a mistake there. Okay, Imrul comes out, and they go, Imrul, please tell us, do you think you were pigeonholed by being the sex guy this season with all the sex stuff that you were doing and everybody calling you orgy beast? And he goes, yes, I was. There's more facets to me than just having sex a lot. Thank you for asking, Andy. But I didn't do myself any favors by coming into the house and immediately saying I went to an Eyes Wide Shut party where there was a bunch of people naked on couches and a big sex swing, and I had sex with 2.5 people. It kind of started the conversation on that note, so he doesn't blame anyone for it.
Yeah, he's like, I had just happened to have been at a Eyes Wide Shut party recently, so it's not something I do all the time, but it was something I had done that week, so that's why I brought it up. West says orgy beast was a term of endearment, and Imrul says I'm more of an orgy novice, and he's like, you guys made it look like I brought someone home every single night, but frankly, I probably brought someone home 4 times in the entire summer.
Right. Yeah, I gave him that because they showed the footage 1, 2, 3, 4, but he did start out the conversation saying
the third one was 2, so that really only counts as 1, 2, 3.
Right, I'm sorry. Yeah, 3 different sex sessions in the house, but he did just have an orgy right before. That was the weekend before, kind of a bookend of that. So I understood why that was, the topic of conversation overall.
I think it was on Watch What Happens Live, Andy defended Imrul's right to get laid, because I think he can relate to that. But then it was sad. Imrul was like, well, it actually has caused me some freaking grief because I got uninvited from my nephew's birthday party for being an orgy beast. Like, my family was like, you shouldn't come anymore.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. What? Like, they said because you had sex a lot on that reality show on Bravo that you should not come to your nephew's birthday. But yeah, I mean, there was some, I guess, that wasn't good.
Lexi, she's trying her best to interject here and there. Like, when Sierra was upset, she was like, it's really brave of you to have shared that. And Sierra was like, thanks. And then she's like, Imrul, like, we should have asked you more questions. Like, I know there's more to you than orgy beast. And he's like, thank you.
Yeah, there were some good moments from Lexi. Speaking of Lexi, then we get into Lexi and Jesse. This was, this is probably, this is probably the rest of it is all this Jesse talk. Jesse says he fell hard for Lexi, and they show the beautiful clips from, the first couple of episodes. He goes, I heard there's a hot girl coming in the house. I'm so excited. And then he tells Andy that he hasn't been in love since high school, since that one relationship he had in high school where his best friend made love to the girl that he loved. Do you remember that story that he was telling?
Yes.
Yeah, and then and Jesse does say that Andy goes, well, that sounds like a big deal then if you said that you were starting to be in love with someone. He goes, yeah, I think it was a big deal. I mean, I really did feel that way, and I thought it was a big deal as well.
Right. Andy's like, West, have you ever seen Jesse fall for anyone like this? And West goes, yes, Paige and Sierra. And everyone's like, ha ha ha.
Yeah. Oh my God.
This opens the gates of, there's a lot of laughs in this portion of the show. They get into Toegate. Did you notice that Andy, the way he introduces it, he goes, when Lexi dipped out for the weekend, Jesse dipped his toes into flurry waters. And I was like, Sandoval reference.
Oh, I absolutely loved that. I thought all of Andy's segues were so good this reunion. There was also the one at the top where he said, "I've made your bed, now you all have to lie in it." And I was like, "Oh my God, that is great." Andy is fun in these moments, because it's exactly what I was thinking too, and he just decided to say it. He goes, "What were you hoping when you barged into a room where you knew 3 people were probably having sex?" He goes, "I mean, weren't the chances of you going in there that they would just all be," and I'm going to say it 15 seconds forward, "fucking?" And everybody goes, "Oh my God, Andy." But it's like, it's so true. I'm glad he said it. It's like, if you're drunk and you storm into a room where you know a person is possibly having sex, like, what are you expecting to see? He obviously went in there expecting it's a 50-50 chance of people having sex, which Jesse acknowledges he should have not gone in the room, and that he was probably expecting to have either seen people pre-coitus, coitus, or post-coitus, whatever I don't know what coitus is.
There was some discussion in the room that it was potentially clear that they had finished from what they could hear.
And Amanda said that too. Amanda said she heard 3 orgasms screams at the exact same time, so everyone knew that they were done. So that was kind of to Jesse's credit. He had just heard them all screaming in pleasure, but then this kind of it was innocent, but then it was also lurid, because I didn't kind of think about, they had just gotten done having sex.
Imrul's you couldn't pay me to go in there.
Yeah, it probably smells like sex. They're all flushed. Post having sex with each other, and then they're all naked. So Jesse, like, coming in the room is kind of like Andy was like, I don't know. It's like you would expect that, like, Jesse would immediately start having sex with them too, but it's like not everyone who had just had sex in a threesome would let a random guy come in there and, like, also have sex with them. That's not, like, taken for granted. But it was odd that, like, they were all naked and post sex. You know, like,
Andy's like, was everybody naked? And Jesse's like, let's just say the girls were happy to see me. And everyone in the room, like, erupts in laughter. And he's like, wait, but, like, what were you doing in there? Like, and he's like, we were chatting, we were doing whatever. And then Andy appeals to him. You could tell that when he described it as a schmooze, Jesse's like, yes, exactly, it was a schmooze. And he's like, okay, so like a 36-minute schmooze.
Yes. I wish that they would say, like, what all was being talked about there, but, who knows? And he goes, you did express pleasure when your toe was being sucked, or he said you got excited, and Jesse said that was a joke, me saying, and I'm hard, which I knew at the time. That was classic joke tone. He goes, and I'm hard. So it's just, it was a joke, and Andy didn't know. He didn't seem to think that it was.
Oh, that's a joke. And Amanda's like, he always comments that. Like, that's one of his go-to Instagram comments is, and I'm hard. So Andy was shocked by that. And then Lexi goes, so convenient. He can say anything is a joke. Like, and then Gabby was like, yeah, he's just a boy. Like, he could say whatever he wants. And I have to say, I don't know, did you at any point during this start to feel bad for Lexi, or you think she made her bed and now she has to lie in it proverbially?
Now that I'm actually thinking about it and talking about it with you, I think it's slightly more sexual than I ever truly thought after we first discussed it. Just that, it is a naked person post just having sex next to 2 other naked people, and then Jesse's on the other end shoving his toe in their mouth for 30 seconds. Like, it became a little less. It's like, I obviously completely understand why Lexi still does not appreciate anything about this, and I think I was almost laughing kind of with the Summer House cast at it, because it kind of does sound silly, but for someone that you're in a relationship and it's like the 2nd or 3rd week and it's right after she leaves, like, I completely understand. Like, Lexi has the full right to think about this forever and use it against Jesse, obviously,
Yeah.
it's not good, even though like I leaned towards it being not a big deal. But if I was the significant other in that situation, I would think it was a pretty big deal no matter what,
Yeah. He's like, they're going into the details of, he's like, you don't just roll into a room and start suck and toe. Like, it took a minute. And Kyle's like, you got to build up to the toe suck. And everyone's like, ha, 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 ha. Like, literally everyone's laughing. Andy's having a good time. Like, it's a joke. Like, everyone's like, whole thing is fucking stupid. It's a joke. And Andy's like, I know we're all laughing and having a good time, but I'd like to point out that Lexi doesn't find this funny at all. And she's like, no, I don't. And then she says that it was sketchy that he lied to her about it. And he's like, sorry, I know that wasn't the right thing to do, but I thought it was a funny joke. And Andy's like, do you think that he actually didn't do anything besides the toe suck? And she says that she would have thought that he got at least a blow job. And Imrul's like, I have no reason to protect this guy. I gotta say it was literally just the toe thing.
Yeah, I believe Imrul. The way he said that, the way he phrased it, how he said it, I think that was kind of the final evidence for me. Imrul saying, that was it, I'm sorry, it's not anything more than that. Just a little bit of toe. I have to say,
there was enough going on this season that it was okay that this was just one of the things, but I was like, this is not like an iconic scandal. Like, you guys haven't been dating long enough for me to consider it cheating, or if you do, then like, I don't care that much because whatever. She's allowed to feel that way, and their relationship was fucked up and weird and like on both sides. But I saw so many people online being like, I don't know, so many people, but like being like, wow, we're just like laughing off cheating. And I was like, cheating?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah, I don't know if I classify
That's not even me defending Jesse because I don't care. I'm just like, this isn't that interesting.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. I think that Lexi had every right to do whatever she wanted after she learned that, obviously, and use it against Jesse as being like whatever she wanted to call it. But in their relationship timeline, which we saw,
6 weeks total.
6 weeks total. Like, I don't even know if they were exclusive at that point. They just moved so quickly that it was kind of just like a big flurry of activity, and I don't really know how to properly assess it. And I agree. But again, I think I said this last week, but like the whole Lexi and Jesse thing, I think is just being like completely overblown of like what it means and whose side we're on and what are the ramifications for Jesse's legacy. I'm like, this is like pretty standard.
Yeah, like people are getting so deep on it. They're like, Sierra's a mean girl, Paige is a mean girl. They are not standing up for Lexi, who deserves the world. Like, it should be her show now.
Yeah. That's I've heard
like,
that
we all need to pump the brakes.
Lexi in the summer house, I heard, is what they're debating for next season. Man, I didn't think anybody would ever turn on Paige, but that was pretty quick.
Yes, she's a mean girl. Always has been. So now we get into the Jesse Sierra stuff, which he says, looking back, I actually do think I crossed the line. It looked kind of crazy. I didn't realize how it was being perceived. I should have taken Lexi's feelings into account, which I'm like, I'd say it would be pretty hard to watch some of that stuff and not think that.
But full accountability, though. I mean, what else do you do besides say that? I mean, he said it. I think he said everything right here. Like, he did a good job. I mean, he apologized for his behavior. He said it looked horrible, and he wishes that he wouldn't have done it. He's not like trying to defend it or anything anymore.
Yeah. Lexi says, he never did it to that degree in front of her face. If she would have seen that stuff, she would have been pissed and called him out. And Sierra, you can tell from the second she has to interact with Lexi, you're like, oh, she fucking hates you already. Mm-hmm. She's like, well, like, we've done worse already. Last summer we kissed, and they show the clip last summer where they're like, kiss and make up. Like, Wes, do you care? And he's like, I love it. I don't care. Which I'm like, yeah, that is an example of like that they've been that way, but he should have stopped for Lexi's comfort. And they ask if West how he felt when they were saying that he had dibs over Sierra, and he goes, well, I never fucking said I call dibs. That's a Jesse original.
Yeah. He's like, please don't, like, think that I ever said those words. I called dibs on Sierra, which I assume that he didn't say that.
Right.
You know?
Right. And Sierra's like, yeah, I don't take Jesse's flirting seriously. If I wanted to fuck him, I would have fucked him before the summer to spite West. And West like leads over to Jesse's like, you fucked up. Like, you should have done it while you could, basically. And Andy's like, Jesse, does it hurt hearing Sierra doesn't want to fuck you? Which, by the way, I watched on Peacock and it's all uncensored, and it's funny to hear all the fucks as always. He's like, they get into this whole banter thing where he's like, come on, Sierra. Like, you know, he's basically like, you know, you want it. And she's like, oh my God, like, stop. She's like, Jesse, stop. And they're just like laughing and everyone's like, ha ha ha. And Lexi's in the corner like, I'm like, they're doing it now.
Totally. Yeah. And Lexi's pissed the entire time.
Which I think a lot of people, I'm a bitch and I'm like, I was entertained. I felt bad if she felt like totally isolated. Like, I don't want her to be like the new kid on the block with no allies, but I'm like, you didn't play for allies.
I know.
You had to think about that. We're in the summer house, baby.
I agree with that. I guess I'm a viewer with no human empathy in this situation, but I'm loving every minute of just Jesse and Sierra reigniting their fun, flirty behavior while
like
Lexi's
back to
pissed.
fun.
Yeah,
like fuck this.
Really, I feel the same way. I'm like, I love this chemistry. You two are firing on all cylinders. This is so fun. And then I do think it's an issue for Lexi that her role on the show became just about one thing. And it's not her fault because it's the biggest thing that happened. It's her actual life. But I think that that's just the entertainment versus reality standard that we have for these shows. Yeah. But Lexi was just relegated to only talking about her relationship with Jesse, and now she has nothing else to really say. So she's kind of the antagonist in a way as viewers because we're rooting for the cast of Summer House and we love them. It was kind of like, it reminded me of when you were talking about Olivia on Southern Charm, when I was like, I see the merit of Olivia, and you were like, yes, but we've only seen her in this context. We've only seen her as an antagonist towards Austin, and I want to see more. I have to see more than just this one dramatic note about them. And I kind of feel the same about Lexi, and that's a strategy thing that you just said. I know she was in love with Jesse, I totally get it, but there needed to be more on the palette of what you brought to the show so that you don't have a complete misfire in the reunion, which is what I think this is. It's not really her fault. It's just that the metrics of entertainment have just gone away from Lexi.
Yeah. Jimmy, he kind of like comes in and out. Like, he didn't watch every single episode, but he started to be like, oh, like, I actually feel kind of bad for her. And I was like, them's the breaks. I was like, that's how it goes. You got to plan for this.
Yeah. It's like, I equate it to like, if you were watching a sitcom, you know, if you're watching Friends, and then at the reunion, Ross and Rachel were starting to flirt right in front of, who was Ross as one of his girlfriends?
Well, Emily is who he married.
Yeah.
He says, I take thee, Rachel,
if
you recall.
Of course I do. And I'm just like, at that moment, Emily, obviously, I feel so bad for her.
Yeah,
That's
you're like,
horrible.
Emily flop, boring, next.
But you're also like, I love this dynamic. And that's just a selfish viewer. It's a selfish viewer that I'm just like, I love Jesse and Sierra's friendship, and I don't want anything to hinder that. And it's unfortunate that Lexi was on the other end of it.
Right. And Lexi starts to say that she keeps trying to like come after people in unwise ways, I would say. Like, she's like, it really hurt to see like Paige and Amanda saying like they should date, and Paige is like, I never fucking said that you guys should date. Like, she doesn't even look her way. She just goes like, I never said that. She's like, no, Amanda did. And it was like that offhand conversation where they were all gossiping about how flirty Sierra and Jesse were being at the party when she was gone. And Amanda says like, I just wish they'd make out already. Or she says something like that. And she's like, that was just like made me feel really bad. And Amanda has to like apologize about it. I'm like, who fucking cares? And Paige is like, I'm the one that told you not even to fucking date him in the first place. Like, don't get me involved in this. And then she says again that Jesse was trying to pit the girls against each other. And this is where Sierra's like, well, you're the one that couldn't keep my name out of your mouth on your press tour, which then we get the virtual reality clip, and yet again we have fucked up. See, if they were already doing this stuff last year, they could have featured the Turtle Time clip
Oh, I know. I mean,
well, we filmed with Wes like the week before the reunion, but like, where's our little? They do the freaking gabbing with Gib, virtual reality.
It's absolutely coming. There's a few signs and indicators that when you and I will truly be like, we got to Mount Olympus of Bravo related podcasts, Bravo centric podcasts. Obviously, interviewing a guest and getting a soundbite is the holy grail. I mean, I would talk about that for the rest of my life. We have
to set it up so we're saying stuff like, they're going to have to come ready for you at the reunion, honey.
Yes, we just have to completely do everything differently than what we have done in the past and just make something happen in the moment. Which that's our goal for the rest of this year, obviously. Yes. So this is when Lexi, again, Sierra does not like to be used in press, I would say, or have a name or a narrative thrown out about her that she is not in control of. And that's when on virtual reality, they were so partial to Lexi. I was really surprised. I was kind of like, damn, okay, Maybe Lexi
she was
heads?
Like, I'll send them the clip. If you talk about this, we'll put it in the reunion.
Yeah, I was like, what are the odds? 2 Lexi heads here? They really were like, being so supportive. Yeah.
So this is where we get into the whole plot, which I'm like, I don't think you were prepared to set up this battle here. Lexi claims that she's like, I think Sierra might have brought it up first, where she's like, you were doing your press going around claiming that we like skipped your birthday or whatever. And she's like, he posted on Instagram. And they show that Jesse posted on Instagram stories that him and Sierra were having brunch at Pastis, which yum yum. That she had invited them via text, presumably to like the Summer House group thread, because she said something like, I didn't want to create a whole new thread without Jesse, so I just invited all of you. Technically, wasn't really meaning to invite you, but I just invited everyone. And he's like, you told me you didn't want to be friends. Why would I go to your birthday? And Sierra sort of says the same thing. Like, you said you don't trust me around your man or whatever. So why would I go to your birthday? And she's like, everyone else came and you guys went to brunch and posted about it. And they were basically like, girl, I don't know when your birthday is. I wasn't thinking about your birthday. We hang out probably all the time. And one of the times we hung out happened to be the day of your birthday, but we were getting French onion soup. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of what you said about Lexi, failing a couple times here to try to have impactful moments. And this was a big one because it just made Jesse and Sierra have to admit that they had no clue when her birthday was. And that was the last thing they were thinking when they were eating that amazing brunch. And then Sierra that's when she gets pissed. She's like, you're out there creating narratives and like manipulating the audience to think that we're trying to rub shit in your face after this season. And that's what Sierra does not like about Lexi. And that kind of sets us up for, part 2. That Sierra's going to be pissed.
I don't know what part of the way that Sierra has reacted to people doing these sorts of things in the past that would make you think it was a smart choice or that you thought you could win her back after any of it. But like, she still won't talk to West.
I know. Yeah.
And she actually liked him.
Yeah, a part of it is like the Lexi press run. Like, I don't really it's not something I ever would think about normally and judge someone for, but I am kind of like, damn, like you went on everything. Virtual reality, not skinny, not fat, Nick Viall. What's the other one? Yeah,
there was a lot. Like, I heard these, I knew exactly what Sierra was talking about because I saw that. Where she was like, they went to brunch, like, which I'm like, it's giving like, again, like she just feels really young, which I think she's the same age as Jesse, give or take like a year or maybe 2. So I don't know why she feels so young, but like the whole like posting on Instagram when it's my birthday is like, feels very like childlike, where you're like, they didn't show up to my birthday party.
Oh yeah. And then I thought you were on a date at the same time, reading too much into like the social media strategy and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see if Lexi can, pull a rabbit out of her hat in part 2, but as of now, I don't know. I just keep thinking of what you said of like, how is Lexi going to be person that you can bring back for round 2 this summer, because I don't really know how it's going to make sense naturally, other than us being like, well, Bravo obviously wanted her back to have conflict with Jesse. But as of now, I don't think that she's made a lot of like inroads with the cast for her to be even invited back naturally. I mean, unless Gabby says I get an invite and I choose to have Lexi with me. But I don't know. Not the best. Not the best reunion, I guess, performance from Lexi overall.
Yeah.
This part.
So then, what the teasers for part 2 were, how are things going with Turner Kufi? And they give a sort of suspense edit where she goes, and everyone's like,
Andy goes, oh my God.
He's like, dead.
Yeah, seriously, it's like I no offense to them, but I know it's like not going to be that bad.
It's going to be total bullshit. She's going to be like, he's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to get those reactions in there of Andy screaming at the top of his lungs.
Yeah. Carl says something complimentary about Lindsay. He's like, I didn't expect to get emotional. We get like what seems like real talk between Kyle and Amanda about the state of their marriage, and then of course more Craig, because they're never going to give up that golden goose. They're going to talk about that as long as they fucking can.
Yeah, I was surprised that we didn't even get a little touch of Lindsay Carl, because when you think about it, it's just like West and Sierra. It's just as big. This is the first time they're back in the house together, and we haven't even gotten to that, but I guess they're going to save that entire segment for part 2. So I'm excited for that.
Totally. I thought that was good. I'm looking forward to part 2. I mean, knowing that it's only 2 parts, it'll be chock full then, because there's still plenty more to talk about.
It has to be. And then they're going to make that huge bombshell announcement that we're going to find out.
Do you actually think that's true?
I don't even think that anybody even says it anymore.
I don't think they're ready to say anything.
Yeah, I
think we're going to have to wait a long time to hear anything. Maybe BravoCon.
I think they stopped saying that there was going to be a huge bombshell. I think that was said like
maybe, who said that?
I don't even know. I
don't know where that came from. I've never seen that.
I think maybe I made it up, or I don't know. But yeah, I don't.
Like a lot of people were. The main thing where people were hypothesizing was when Amanda posted that weird photo of Lindsay filming. That added up to nothing, and then Andy said Lindsay's not going to be on Housewives straight up. So we don't know anything new.
Right. We'll see. I mean, I'm still hoping.
I'd be shocked if they said something truly.
Okay. Well, I'm still waiting. I think I was promised a huge bombshell at Reunion Part 2, and I hope we get it. So that was it for our Summer House recap. Do you want to lightly brush upon the Valley Aftershow that you and I didn't? We can never take those into account when we actually talk about the Valley. Yeah. So what if we did a huge transition? Thus ends
the
Summer
Valley
House
Aftershow minute.
Yes.
There was just like some more stuff about the, I'm always obsessed with the leases, the mortgages, the cost of all that stuff, which they got into more, that I thought was interesting. Jax was like absolutely on one in this. I was like, we shouldn't even like let him talk. Like he was just like out of his fucking mind. He was like, I learned from Schwartz that it is not good for your mental health to go from a beautiful home to an apartment. Like, just look at what happened to him. It was horrible.
And Schwartz goes, I was in a dark hole. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And he stands by his decision to, without telling Brittany, get this condo near Schwartz. And he keeps talking shit about how much Brittany was spending. He's like, let's not mince our words here. She was living in mansions. Like, she was living in really nice places. I'm like, yeah, with your son. Like, did you want them to live in, like, you just said you thought it would be damaging to your mental health to live in a shithole. So, like, where do you want her to live?
Yeah, and also Brittany says later, she goes, I want a cruise to still have a pool. He's, like, swimming his ass off, and it's one of his greatest joys in life now. So I wanted to make sure that our property had a pool. And it's like, that's such a sweet...
It's, like, fucking batshit insane to not... We've said this a million times, but to not have them stay in the house that has all of the things that their autistic son needs. She said that she even offered to pay for Jax to live somewhere else, and he wouldn't leave. So she had to pay what I can only imagine. She says something like $100,000 she spent on Airbnbs, because think about when you just rent a house for a weekend, how much it is, especially if it's in LA proper and has a pool. Like she was probably paying like 15 grand a month or something insane.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. And she said, I could have just been paying the mortgage on the house that you're not paying the mortgage on and just use that money. It's like all of it is just so bad. It's like you think that the Vanderpump Rules cast, or Jack specifically, just makes like morally bad mistakes in life with how he deals with his relationships. But no, in fact, he makes horrible legal and financially bad decisions all the time in his life as well. I love that we got to see that park day too, right before he lays out exactly what happened, that he brought his therapist from the mental health facility to deal with this conversation because he didn't want to have a one-on-one conversation with his wife about all this stuff. And then that's how he got the backup to be like, Jax is moving, he just signed the lease, and then he said that the therapist was stunned with how Brittany acted at the park, that they thought that this was like ironclad perfect logic, and that Brittany would be really happy that he was moving into a condo with Tom Schwartz, and that she walked away in a huff, and he was really shocked about it. It's like,
yeah, she said that it was completely one-sided, and that he manipulated the therapist, and why did you let him sign he's only been gone for 17 days. Why has he already done that without talking to me about how long the place I'm staying at is?
Imagine what he's been doing in this mental health facility. Video diaries, texting Brittany probably 4 hours a day, signing a lease, 7 hours of actual therapy, looking at those cameras all the time to see what Brittany's doing. Like, he has just been so actively trying to control his life outside of the mental health facility when he should just be fully focused on treatment.
Yeah. Isn't one of like the big tenets of that sort of treatment is like not making any rash decisions? And he said that his like real estate agent was like, you got to get onto this, like someone else is going to take it, you got to sign it now.
He goes, we found a gem, it's truly a gold mine, a gem, it's an absolute beautiful treasure in the valley, and we had to hop on that thing right away. And the entire time Schwartz is like, don't even say my name as you talk about this story, I had nothing to do with this.
I know he's like, we found an amazing place. He's like, can you not say we? And he tries to switch gears, and he uses cruise as a way to get sympathy. He goes, I didn't want my son going around from Airbnb to Airbnb. And I'm like, he didn't need to go to an Airbnb at all. He could have stayed at his house where he lives, and you wouldn't leave. So she had to leave.
Well, yeah, but also wasn't he saying like, I just finally got clarity after the 9 months that she's been doing this, that now I realize that that's what I wanted, even though he didn't take in any of the practical concerns, which are that Brittany has a 3-month lease, so this makes no sense, you know?
Right.
Like, it's just, it all comes down to just very bad decision making.
The amount of money down the drain is absolutely fucking insane. Like that, she said that he didn't pay his taxes for 6 years, so that got reflected. I guess, does that mean, I think I remember reading that there was a lien on their house.
Yeah.
So their mortgage went from $8,000 to $18,000. Like basically they're like, if you don't pay your taxes, it is wrapped up in you paying your mortgage, and so like we'll take your house if you don't pay your taxes.
If you don't have a mortgage, what can they do to you?
They'll still take your shit.
Oh, really? I mean, how did he go for 6 years without paying them? I mean, it's like, I think Janet says at one point, she's like, this guy's credit score keeps me up at night, and I'm in the exact same way. Like any one of those little financial decisions that would affect my credit or do anything with my standing, power bills, electricity bills, I would be so upset and worried. And Jax just did not give a fuck, he said.
Yeah, he was in deep gaff mode. And then he's fucking lying. He claims that he wrote a $200,000 check to the IRS. I'm like, with what money?
Yeah, no.
Since when do you have $250,000 in your account? What are you fucking talking about?
Yeah, and I also didn't know if he meant, was he talking about paying because his taxes are combined now. His paying back the taxes are now combined with his mortgage. So he paid $200,000, which, I don't know where he got that money.
He's lying.
Probably. I don't really trust anything that he says in this arena, especially.
She says that he's given her in 2024 like child support wise, he gave her $3,000, and as of 2025 he's given her about $8,000, which I'm like, oh my god, I need her to divorce him so bad so that he has to pay her like 20 grand a month or something.
I was just gonna say, like, this is kind of what like divorce was made for. Like, we picture divorce as just this kind of fun thing that two people can do when they want to stop.
So fun.
Yeah, like stop the romance in their life. But this is like what you actually need divorce for. Like, I don't even think of divorce like this, but it's like, no, I need it because you're doing a bunch of crazy stuff with all of our finances and our names are entwined and you're not paying mortgages and you're not paying for our son and he's at an Airbnb. It's like now there needs to be an actual legal expert in court to disentangle all of this horrible shit, havoc that he's wreaking on
Same with Jesse and Michelle. Yeah. And he tries to get it in under the wire. He goes, I was just in such a bad place after she hooked up with my friend. You just can't believe how bad I was feeling. I was like, all right, that has nothing to do with anything. Like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, laughable at this point to bring it up. I was just like, this is so ridiculous that you are still hanging on to the one even slightly bad thing that you think that Brittany did. Think about all of the horror you've caused in everyone's lives around you, and you just get to wallow in this one stupid little thing that happened when you were actually separated. Like, it's so bad of him.
Yeah. He also, both him and Brittany confirmed that he's a diagnosed narcissist. He said he scored like high on the test. And Brittany said that like, we can treat his depression, we can treat his bipolar, but the narcissism is just going to be a thing because that's just how he is.
Yeah. I don't know what you do about that either. That seems like a big one.
Akin to lying.
Yeah,
or one and the same.
Yeah, I looked up. I had to look up what a narcissist truly is because Lala says like she goes. I always thought it was based off Narcissus, the Greek
she
god.
said it wrong.
Yeah, she was like the Greek god who would stare at himself in a pond. Like I was like, yeah, I don't know. That's not what I think when I think of narcissist, and who was always looking at himself longingly. But it's actually not that. And I looked it up, and I was like, whoa, God, it is like a much broader diagnosis, and like
it's just like a malignant person.
Yeah. Damn. Well, yeah.
Oh, and then just a fun fact. It turns out those Brittany swim trunks that Zach was wearing were made by Stassi Schroeder years ago. And she made 2 pair for Jax, didn't know the size, and Zach took one of the pairs. Yeah. So that's Vanderpump lore right there.
That is so fun. I was wondering where the hell Zach got those Brittany swim trunks. Yeah, so that was great. The Valley Aftershow is amazing. I wish, I
liked all of the parts that we talked about, but the rest of it that was about Dark Side Danny and all of that, I was like, I wanted to put it on like 1.5 speed. I was like, I can't talk about this anymore.
I know. Yeah, we don't. Yeah. For things that you want to know more about, like Jax's park day, it's great, but no more parsing the tequila in the closet that Danny was slugging. We don't need to talk about that anymore. But anyway, well, how do you feel about what we've done today as the Turtle Time Collective?
Accomplished. Sad that there's only one more summer house, but I think we did it justice.
I think we did too. A great reunion. Can't wait for part 2. I'm glad we got to talk about all of that piping hot news at the top of the episode. And now I would say maybe we should start to end this episode. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, Norman's staring at me from behind the computer. He wants his Bickies.
Oh, good. All right. Well, let's end this thing for Norman so he can get those ASAP. Well, first off, I'd like to say if you enjoy Turtle Time and you've never had a chance to review us on any of the platforms that you can review us, I think it would be absolutely amazing for Amy and I if you were able to spend 3 minutes reviewing us on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or go to YouTube and give us a like or a comment. That stuff is so fun for Amy and I, and it really boosts Turtle Time up in these podcast rankings. We're shooting up like a rocket, but we need some more gas. I think we really do. And also, please, if you need more Turtle Time in your life, for $5 a month, you can subscribe to the Turtle Time Patreon, and you become a Villa Rosa VIP, and you get access to the entire archive of Amy and I recapping Vanderpump Rules from the very beginning, and it's still an ongoing series. We are just about to get to season 7 of Vanderpump Rules, which should be fun.
Good times. We recap the shit out of it. It's really fun to revisit. I frankly am not lying when I recommend it.
I know. I lie every once in a while about the worth of it, but today I fully stand strong. It's one of the best things you can do for $5 a month. I really do. And then that's it. You go to Etsy if you're gearing up for BravoCon this year, and you say, "I want a shirt."
I'm wearing my Brooks and Dawn.
Oh my God, that is one of the rarest Turtle Time pieces you could ever get. When Amy's wearing. Go to YouTube. It's Brooks and Dawn. It's a play on Brooks and Dunn, and it's one of the most beautiful shirts I've ever seen in my life. But
I famously, to me, was wearing it when I met Carl from Summer House, and he was like, "I love Brooks and Dunn," and I was like, "I don't."
Yeah. Oh my God. Wow. So he didn't even have any clue what the hell that was.
Yeah. He was like, "I don't get it, but I love Brooks and Dunn." I was like, "That's nice."
Oh my God. I wish. Man. Oh well. Maybe we'll tell him someday what that actually meant. But anyway, well, that's it for us. Amy, I'm gonna go to sleep now. Little Turtle Cuties and Villa Rosa VIPs, we hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll be back next week with another episode.
Bye.
Bye.